I played a show a few weeks ago. I was up in Virginia somewhere, and I was like, "This is gonna be a good show." And I got there, it was awful, and they did not care about anything. And so finally, I was just on stage, and I just go, "We got any Morgan Wallen fans?" They all yelled. I go, "Well, that don't matter. I just wanted to hear y'all yell tonight."
All right, guys, I hope you're ready for a new episode because we are back bigger than ever in 2024, and I'm pumped to have this next guy on the podcast. I am lucky to call him a friend, and I've got to watch his career take off the past couple years. At just 23 years old, he's proven to be a veteran in the Nashville songwriting community, as well as one of the most highly anticipated artists. I listened down to his album, Smoky Mountains, which releases this Friday, January 26th, and let me tell you, top to bottom, this thing is a masterpiece. It has Take It Slow, I Hate Alabama, and Creek Will Rise, my favorite song, which we're going to get into. And it's a 12-song project that's just guaranteed to put him on the map. So here's the deal. We're going to sit down and talk a little bit about this. We're going to talk about his tour last year, all the new plans, and I'm so pumped to welcome the one and only Mr. Connor Smith.
That was really kind, man. I appreciate it. It's cool. I was just thinking about, as you were talking, the variations of our friendship. I think we met 3 years ago. I didn't have songs. I think you just started 615 House. Yeah. And we went on a camping trip.
I do remember that. It was freezing
so cold, man. It was so cold. I woke up. I woke up in the tent or van or wherever I was, and it was one of those cold where there's nothing to fix it either. Your whole body is purely just frozen, and there's no way to remedy that. Either way, to start there, to see over the last 3 years the evolutions of our lifespan in Nashville, it's special to be here today. So excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you. I do want to share one quick story about that. I remember when it was you, your brother, another artist, Roman Alexander, and myself. I remember we were still all getting to know each other, so I felt like nobody wanted to be like, "Hey guys, it's a little cold. We should go."
Yeah, we're all trying to tough it out.
We're trying to tough it out, and
I'm a man.
Man it up, and it's 30 degrees at Fall Creek Falls outside of Nashville, and we're all just shivering in our sleeping bags. But that might have been the low point of everything that's happened.
I do think we both proved something to each other in that moment. Yeah, you know what I mean, that we were gonna tough it out.
Yeah, I definitely felt like we linked arms like brothers.
Absolutely.
Oh man, dude. Well, it's been crazy to watch your career take off since those freezing days on that camping trip. I think you had a massive 2023 and even a bigger 2024 to come. What are you most excited about for this upcoming year?
Oh man, so much. I feel this industry is a wild one. I feel like I'm stepping this year kind of in control of my career for the first time, maybe. I put out an EP back in the start of 2022 and had some success with it with I Hate Alabama and Take It Slow and some other songs, but yeah, that really helped me kind of get going and build some fans and play some shows. And since then, I've put out 3 songs. Yeah, which is a sobering reality that in the past, about 2 years, I put out 3 songs. I think that's the math. And so, understanding that and just recognizing what we've got this year with an album finally coming out, and this album really kind of shows the different layers of who I am as an artist and a songwriter mainly. Yeah. And then the plan even after that, just to keep firing and building layers. This thing, I'm really excited about that. I just love. I love I get to do this. I love I get to write songs and get to tell stories, and I think I'm finally getting to really kind of say what I want to say on this record. So it'll be fun. It'll be really exhausting too. It's going to be a crazy year. I get married in April as well, so it's all of it at once. But it'll be fun.
Amazing, man! Congratulations! You, man. I did see. I saw that video of a song that you had written about your fiance that came out, I think, a couple days after you proposed, which is just. It was amazing to see that all come to fruition.
I wrote that. I back pocketed it. I was like, you can't hear this until later. So I was talking to a songwriter with Chase McGill, Parker Wellings, and I think Mark Trussell or Casey Brown, I think it was, and I was talking about to get a ring, and they're like, "Oh, what ring?" I was like, "I'm gonna get a grandma's ring," and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna write that today," and so kind of fell out the sky.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, it's going to be a big year ahead. I think you said something interesting, how you've only put out 3 songs in the past 2 years, which I think we're in a high volume market, right, where a lot of people are putting out music. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, creativity you can't rush, and I feel like what you've done a great job is you've really put out music that I think is meaningful to you. It's quality. It's meaningful to, you know, your fan base, which you've built. It seems like this album has been in the works for several years, and it's just finally now at a point where, you know, you feel like you have the full package ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes time to figure out what you want to say and do it well. Yeah, I think anybody can kind of rush the process, and there were times that I wanted to. But I think at the end of the day, you got to have something different. And I think the early music was good, and it really spoke to where I was at in life. I also think in that time period from when we put it out to where I'm at now, I just grew up so much. And so much of it was evolving so quickly. And so I think I was trying to get the music to evolve with it. I think Creek Will Rise was kind of the tone setter for where we were going. I think this record kind of follows that suit on what that song is, and just kind of growing it up. But yeah, man, I'm just proud of the songs we got. It was a long process, and definitely a lot of days that were just, you know, kind of annoying as an artist trying to get things moving. But
sure,
you know, now we got a song top 15 on country radio.
I know, man. The creek will rise, and it keeps rising on radio, dude.
Well, I always make the joke. I'm like, you know, I put Take It Slow out to radio. It died at 50, so it took it slow, and then Creek Will Rise keeps rising. So my songs follow suit. And so I respect them for doing that.
That's awesome, man. Well, we got a bunch to talk about. I want to get into the thick of it with this album and kind of the past couple of years with you. But first things first, I think your songs are okay. I think your artistry is okay. But what I think I'm most impressed about Connor is he has this mic flip, this ability to mic flip that is just second to none. And
I respect that.
Here's the deal. I've always wondered whether you're a fraud or not. So I got a little mic.
So either every show, it's like, how high and how many flips can I get? Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I've gone pretty high. I've dropped it twice in my career, which is like a deeply embarrassing thing.
I was going to say, do you remember the drops that you've had?
Yeah. Like, cause when they drop, I'm talking, they like go into the crowd. Yeah. And so then like the crowd's just looking for my mic, and I'm just sitting there like, man, I really tried to be too cool today. Yeah. And then I'm looking back, you know, my brother is probably videoing me, and I'm looking back and he's just like about to roast me. And so it happens, but like there's been some impressive ones that have gone really high. It's like dark on stage, obviously, and I'm trying to like track it down and get it. The thing I've learned is like the best time to do it is when I'm singing a song and then I give the fan the mic to sing. So if the fan's singing it, and then when I take it back, I flip it back. So if I'm right here and I flip it back, they love it.
That's awesome.
So that's been kind of the key trick, but we'll see how high I can get it. Like I think the key to the height thing is slow rotation.
Yeah. Do you have a physics equation for this chalked up, or is it mostly off the feel?
I failed math twice. Like there was no chance for me in physics. So this is just kind of all feel, all kind of, you know,
all natural with this mic
ball,
flip.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Oh, wow.
So you see what I'm saying? Like you can go higher if you go slower rotation. Cause that's a lot harder. Yeah. But if you go,
oh, wow.
Shoot.
There's the drop.
And that's the
live drop.
You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of the key. And yeah, it is something I think is when you're on stage, you know, I think every artist has like their 6 like back pocket tricks that they pull out. And that's become a staple for me.
It's awesome, man. I can't imagine the thrill of throwing a mic slightly too high and having 1,000 people looking at you and like you cannot drop that sucker. And
then when you do, it's just like, okay.
Yeah. And that's why
I think is important. I think everybody needs to be humbled every now and then.
Sure.
And so I think when you share that intimate moment, you know, with an arena of people looking at you, you just go, yeah.
I totally understood. Well, man, I want to talk a little bit about college football. Did you see, I assume you watched the game last week.
Yeah, I did.
A couple weeks ago.
It was a tricky game for me.
Yeah. How so?
Well, because I bet on Bama plus 2.5. And then I bet on the under at 47.5, which But then as the game was going on, I realized how much I wanted Michigan to win. So it was a lot of conflicting emotions. And then I had both the bets on lock with Bama and the under, and then it goes into overtime. And then I'm like, I might lose both these bets. I ended up hitting the under because it was a 47. So I hit it by half point.
Oh, wow.
And Michigan won. So I broke even. Michigan won. Bama lost. I hit Alabama.
Damn, you make your money and you watch the Crimson Tide just crumble. You know?
So it was a tricky game. But yeah, I was watching it and I was like, what really turned it around for me, because I was kind of cheering for Bama, believe it or not. Just an SEC guy. And I do love Nick Saban, which I probably shouldn't admit. But I was looking at Harbaugh, who's definitely probably going to the pros next year.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know how bad he wants this? Like, this would probably be the worst loss of his entire life.
Right.
And I was like, man, I just kind of want him to have this moment. And so that was what
crazy finish though.
It was wild.
You know? And even the Washington Texas game is nuts. I mean, it's you know, it was college football is at an all-time high. And speaking of which, I want to jump into a little game. This is a would you rather.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Just going to hit you with a couple questions. And the first would you rather is, would you rather be the worst player on the Tennessee Volunteers or win a Heisman, but you have to play for Alabama?
I mean, that's just I'm Baylor Zimmerman rocking a hard place there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But on it, I mean, I'd rather win the Heisman.
Yeah.
But like,
but then that song holds no merit, right?
Yeah, but like then it might be like ironic in a beautiful way. And,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think nah, man. I'm not playing for Bama. Oh yeah.
Look at that. He's
me the punter for Tennessee, baby.
He's wavering. Well, we'll stick to
That's
Nashville.
a good question though. I respect that.
I'll give you one that maybe hits home a little more. Would you rather have to play one entire quarter as the offensive lineman for the Tennessee Titans, or would you rather have to play one period for the Nashville Predators skating?
Offensive line, and I'm not, you know, I ain't like 5'10", 5'11", so it's just like there's no like meat on these bones to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But like just my skating ability versus my walking ability.
Yeah,
pretty severe. So offensive line.
There's some logic in that answer. Sure. Hey, would you rather have to wear the same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week?
Underwear.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean a week. Like, figure it out.
Yeah, something tells me you've done that before. That was a very casual answer. Nah, that was a little too casual.
I mean, I'm back to back. Like, these are the second days I've worn these socks, so it's like I'm at the peak on these things. But like, I just feel like I can cover one of those a lot better.
Gotcha.
But like, it's like I can keep my pants on.
Yeah.
But I might take my shoes off somewhere, and like I don't want to get reckless.
Understood. We'll call him Clean Feet Connor.
Praise God.
Hey, would you rather sip whiskey with Matt McConaughey or shoot tequila with Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy whiskey. For one, I like whiskey better, and for two, like Matthew would be kind of a top five hang for me. I just think that there's some charisma there that's impressive.
Yeah, he's a dude, unbelievable. One of my favorite actors. I mean, 100%. The Rock too, but
I don't know, man. I watched The Rock on Joe Rogan the other day. He's just so polished. Yeah. Like there's just no like grit. Yeah. Which I'm saying that about like probably the strongest guy.
I was going to say, watch what you're saying, man.
But I mean, I'm just standing by it. Like he's not going to see this. And if he does, I said what I said. But yeah, Matthew's got some grit. And his book, you read Matthew's book?
No, Greenlight.
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. I want to get it's in a must read. It's like one of those books, even if you hate reading, you love it.
Yeah. What was the biggest takeaway from?
Man, I think he has such an approach on creativity that's unique, and he's such an oddball, but he does it in such a kind of likable way, and so I mean, just thinking about, I think he's had a good grasp on like humility too, and I think for a dude like that, that's an impressive thing. I mean, he just talks about like, you know, he was a movie star and he literally like went and he was single and went and lived in like a trailer park just to kind of like humble himself and like refine himself sort of stuff. And so yeah, he's just got a wild story. His parents like got married and divorced like 3 times. You know what I mean? And so yeah, and then he just like quit everything to become an actor and just kind of went all in. And like I said, there's just some charisma there that I respect.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Well, we got shout out to old Matt. Come sip some whiskey with Connor. Last would you rather here is, I know how much that you love to tour live. It's one of your biggest strengths, in my opinion. Would you rather only be able to play one show a year, but you could play your original music, or you could play as many shows as you want, but you'd only be a Dylan Marlo cover band?
I mean, dude, I'd rather play no shows.
Look at that.
I was gonna say do as many shows with the cover band, but when you threw Dylan in there, it's like,
yeah,
for one, he just sings so dang high. I'm like, I can't hit his falsetto. Like,
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
His girl voice, I just can't.
Yeah, is he ever gonna hit puberty? What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, you got a fake mustache and can't even, you know. But that's another topic.
Understood. Yeah,
for another time.
Definitely, definitely. Well, hey, we're gonna be right back here on the podcast with Connor Smith in studio. What's up, guys? We're back. Connor Smith in the house. He has an album coming out this Friday, Smoky Mountains. I have gotten a chance to listen to this thing, and it is fantastic.
What was your highlights?
Well, I actually think that, and I want to talk about this, but Roulette, On My Heart, I think that is, or On the Heart, right? Yeah. I think that is maybe the best song I've heard from you. And there's a lot of good songs, and you've been teasing it slowly online, but I listened to that thing and I was, I was just alone jamming in my kitchen last night. There's a little emotional side from Chris here, but I just heard that thing and man, I got emotional. It was damn
Thank you,
good.
Man. That means a lot. Man, I just like, that's part of one of those things we talk about, like the time it takes to craft who you are as an artist and as a songwriter. And that was one of the songs that, like, when that song came, it just goes, that's it, right? Like that's the heart behind who I want to be as a songwriter. And so I wrote that song, Jesse Alexander, Chase McGill, Mark Trussell, and
hey, is Haley Witters?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if that's public yet or not, but man, her voice is special on it too. Why'd you choose Haley to collaborate with?
So we wrote the song and it just had a different thing to it. It was it felt elevated, I think, and honestly I agree that it's I think it's gonna be the biggest song I've put out yet. If I can mark my words. But when we heard it, we all kind of felt like there would be a really cool tension to it if you could add a girl's vocal. And I say this genuinely, the first person that came to mind was Haley. I love Haley. I love her artistry. I love who she is as a person. We played a ton of radio shows together and have become friends. And so we asked her and she said yes. And I don't know, man. It's just like when her voice got on it, there was that level of emotion that added to it, of the story of this back and forth. And yeah, that was an idea I had of Roulette on the Heart, and just kind of the back and forth, and knowing that, sometimes you're with a girl and you know that at any point you're going to be screwed, and so that's kind of where it started. But when that song kind of came into the room, I wrote that song and How It Looks From Here, which was one of the last songs we put out the same day at the same time. So there's two writing rooms. We're at a writer's camp, so I was writing How It Looks in one room and Roulette in the other. And so when we brought that in the room, Jesse and Chase, they kind of brought it to life, and in that kind of tone of it. And lyrically, it just holds up for me. And just every line I think matters, which is kind of my test of a song. Like, every line says something new. It tells the story. And I think with where country music is right now too, I think it's a really cool kind of taste of that in my way that's still very genuine to me.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's one of my favorites, but I mean the whole album top to bottom is fantastic, and you're quite the multitasker in songwriting if you're able to go in one room and write a song and then go to the other. Dude, and finish another one.
I've found that's my sweet spot, because man, like, more than anything, like, live show's great, I love it, but like writing a song is all I care about. Like, that is the heart behind it. When I sit in a room and I write a song with someone, I feel the most like exactly who I was made to be, sort of thing. Like, it's one of those purpose things. And so I've found that with how busy the schedule is, how much my mind is all over the place. When you give me a week and just go, hey, you're going to write 4 songs a day, but you're going to knock it out in 5 days. There's going to be 2 rooms at all times. Like, that's where half of my songs come from. I think probably half of the record came from retreats.
That's amazing to hear, man. I love that you care so much about the craft and songwriting. It's funny. I actually saw a shout out to your mom, because your mom has an awesome podcast that that you were on, and I remember she was saying that like even in elementary school and middle school, you were writing your own songs and like singing around the classes. It seems like you've been a songwriter since like day one.
Yeah, I think my story is like there was a gift to do something. I think everybody has like natural gifts and abilities the Lord puts on them, but I also think that I was in the perfect like environment to foster that. Growing up in Nashville, growing up around songwriters, my mom was interviewing songwriters, working at Channel 4 here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so and she loved country music too. And so it's just kind of this wild God story of, you know, a song God Moments, which wraps out the record. It kind of talks about that stuff in the second verse of just like, man, I felt like I've been really lucky to have the right opportunities, be around the right people to kind of foster a gift that the Lord gave me. And just since I was 6 years old, all I wanted to do was write songs and just tell stories. And if I could only pick one thing, if I could give up everything else just to write songs every day, that's all I would do, because that's just such a part of who I am. And it's also part of my heart inside of Nashville is like, how can I be an artist who champions songwriters?
Sure. Above
all else, like, how can I make sure that the songwriter community, which is the center of the ecosystem, right, is healthy and they're rightly rewarded? Because I think it's been wishy-washy the last few years as the music industry has changed so much.
Yeah. Do you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
Yeah. First song I ever wrote was a song I had gone to the Grand Ole Opry. Hal Ketchum sang a song called Sure Love. I came home, I rewrote the lyrics. But the first song I remember started to play out. I would go to like Puckett's and Leaper's Fork and
shout out Puckett's.
Yeah. This was before it was like a thing. And every Thursday night, me and Coop, my brother, we would go out there. We were the Smith Brothers, and we'd go play one cover, and then I'd play one original song. It's 7 years old, and first one I started to play was a song called Small Town Big Dream Boy.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the anchor of it.
There you go. Didn't make the record though, did it?
No, I didn't make the record, but album 2 is cooking. So
yeah, love that. He's already working on album 2. Hey, you mentioned something about how you want to be a champion in the songwriting community, and I think there's a lot of champions of you as well. One in particular is Thomas Rhett. You got to play on the road with him last year, and then you guys have continued to stay close. What does your relationship with Thomas Rhett mean to you?
Oh man, it's massive. I think it's so many elements. I started young. I signed my first publishing deal when I was 16. I started touring when I was 21, 20 maybe. And this is one of those industries you kind of get thrown into and just sink or swim. And so to have TR as the dude who like kind of looked out for me, it's just kind of a big brother role, and just be a voice that I could look to and see that if nothing else, like if he did it, I can do it. Because he did it he's done it the right way, right? Like he's positioned his career, he's handled success, he's handled his family the right way. And so to see that in the middle of like me trying to figure out who I wanted to be or how I wanted to live, and knowing that that was an option, I don't know if I would have fully known that was an option without him. And so to have him there as just a dude I could look to was massive. And then on top of that, to like have him intimately in like some conversations of just like, man, how did you process this? How did you deal with this? How did you handle that pressure? How did you, work with the label? How did you, all those different things. It's been really special. And he was just really intentional, man. Like I remember early on, I was going to play a show in Athens, Georgia. We just started like get some headlining shows. I Hate Alabama just come out. Like there was a little bit of a momentum started to form, and I was about to play a show, and he just called me one afternoon, and he said, "Hey man, I'm just checking on you. Like, I know what it's like to like start to play those headlining shows and in those college towns, and it's you gotta have your head on straight. And so how are you doing?" And it's like, man, that's life changing,
dude. That's so cool, man. That's like so down to earth too. Just him remembering that and looking out for you. I mean, it really feels like he's kind of like a little brother to you.
For sure. Well, I mean, like I said, like I don't think I can overstate like the impact that'll have when it's all said and done. Just the little moments of intentionality from him, that where he was just able to like see me and give me some wisdom that I would never have without someone being intentional. I think every artist needs that.
Yeah.
Like I just like, and so I'm just very thankful the Lord kind of crossed those paths. We met, the first time we ever met was when I think it was like early 2020 before the pandemic. There was a hurricane in East Nashville, and or a tornado, my bad. And I met him because we were both out there like cutting up trees, helping clean up. And that's where we ran into each other for the first time. We were like, hey man, we should write a song or something. He said that. And
that's you first time you met Thomas Rhett was when you guys were helping on the tornado relief. That's wild, dude.
And so we wrote a song on Zoom and then hung out once after that. And he asked me to go on tour, and that'll forever, be a defining moment in my life.
Yeah. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, cool.
I love to hear that.
Well, and that's Nashville for you, right? Like, you want to talk about that? Like, that's what this town is that you would meet Thomas Rhett, cutting up trees after a tornado, and then a year later he asked you to go on tour with him and Parker McCollum, and your life is forever changed. You're like, oh, cool, this is great. Yeah,
dude, that is the community of Nashville. You know, I was gonna ask you, like, I mean, you've seen it because you've been here for quite some time. A lot of people are talking about how much they're building in Nashville and how many people are moving, and the Bachelorette's on Broadway and all that. Like,
wow.
What do you think of all the growth of Nashville?
I mean, I think it needs to chill. I think we're like right there where I'm like, all right, guys, this is great. It's always fun, especially like when it's your town, where it's like when it's the it city and everyone's like, because I take so much ownership in this town. Like, this town is my heart. I love that even in country music, Nashville's having its moment with Jelly Roll, Ernest, Chase, Matthews, Lauren Watkins, Mitchell Tenpenny, like me, like all these Nashville guys are kind of coming up, which is fun. And so I got like, my heart is so for this town, but at the same time, like, this traffic's stupid, and like Atlanta, I love you, but like when I got to drive through Atlanta or go to Atlanta, like there's dread in my mind, and I just see Nashville's about to be that, because it ain't slowing down anytime soon. I get why people are moving here and why people love it so much, and so it definitely needs to calm down. Like, about to get married, try to buy a house, and I'm like, I need a couple more hits.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
It's
a different beast than what I kind of grew up with.
100%. Well, and you're thinking about, like, if you buy a place 15 minutes outside of Nashville, well, 15 minutes, right? That's now 45 to an hour based off the traffic in the morning. It's crazy, man. Hey, I want to talk about one other thing that you mentioned a little bit, which is your faith and your relationship with God. Talk to me a little bit about that. And how that's kind of played a role in your life.
I mean, I think it is everything, right? I mean, I'm a strong believer, and just, I try to follow the ways of Jesus, and try to carry that through my life, through my work, and I love that I get to do that in this industry. Because I think country music has such that backbone to it of like family and faith and football sort of thing, and that's just so much of who I am, and what I try to revolve my life around in a very imperfect way. And so, I think as I've gotten older and I've recognized, what it means to believe that Jesus was actually, God in flesh, it's kind of definitely shaped the decisions I've made, or tried to at least, and figure out what this industry is. And I think overall, this industry is such a self-centered, egotistical job where you're building, practically, essentially a company around who you are as a person and your talent. And you've got all these people about making your dream come true. And that's and then you go on stage, right? And you have 1,000 people who paid to come be in the same room as you.
Sure.
And then you go on stage and it's like they're cheering for you. It's just like, it's all very counter-human, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I've just tried to recognize that and go, man, this is so beautiful. And like, this is really cool and special that I've been given this platform. And this opportunity to, like, do what I love and make a living and provide for my family and kids one day, and everything. And I'm just really grateful for that. And at the same time recognize like, hey man, like what's the point? What's the point of this whole thing? Like if I'm gonna get out there and worry about what I'm in control of and worry about the success of my songs, and because I can only work so hard, and I try to believe that I've worked harder than as hard as I possibly can in every way. But at the same time, so much is out of my control. And so I think having that faith and that backbone, and I mean, I could sit here and tell you 10 stories over the last 3 years of my career where you see that and you go, oh, that's only God. And so when I've seen him show up time and time again, it's so much bigger than just kind of this mystical faith that I grew up in. But it's really like, oh man, God's the type of God that like wants to be in the day to day and like show himself. And he's done some pretty crazy things.
Yeah, that man, you said that so beautifully. I think the one thing that stood out to me is we were even talking beforehand, but it's such a contrast when everything about your career is centered around you. Like like you even told me beforehand, like, man, I gotta sit with Chris and talk for half an hour to an hour about me. And it's like, yes, you're building a brand all around you, and the spotlight is always on you. But at the same time, like, the gift of music is to be shared with everyone. You're beautiful. Providing for your family, and that ability, to project yourself is really also helping the community.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. And that's where it's like, okay, cool, I got this. Now practically what do I do? And that's where I'm like, well, I want to care about the songwriters in Nashville. I want to evolve, the health of the songwriter community in Nashville as an artist. Okay, that's one thing. I think about the guys around me. Jake Kinney, my tour manager.
Oh, I know Jake.
It's like, that's one of my best friends growing up. He's just one of those prodigy sort of music guys, and reminds me of you, and just kind of a hustler sort of mindset. And it's like, dude, I get to have him out, and we get to like chase this dream together. I got a band of guys I freaking love. That it's like, hey, dude, what's your biggest dream? Like, even outside of me, outside of like, it's like, I want to help you get there. And so I try to lead from that perspective, and that makes everything way more fun and way less stressful. Yeah. Because then it's just like I'm judging my whole life off what other people think of me. And when you get in that mindset, man, you're stuck in a comparison game where it's never going to be enough. Right.
Well, I love one thing I compliment you to is you've surrounded yourself with a group of guys that are so fun to be around. I've gotten to meet your band. I've gotten to meet your tour manager, Jake Kinney, who's the man. I do want to talk about it. I think it's important that the truth comes out now. Jake Kinney did star in a Dylan Marlo music video.
He did.
And I want to know, what is the beef between you and Dylan Marlo?
Dude, that was hard to swallow for me. But I at the end of the day, I get it. Like, you got to take opportunities. And I think Jake, rashly jumped into that opportunity. And
do you feel like that franchise is maybe not as established or qualified as your franchise?
Well, I think at the end of the day, like, I think you look at the intentions of Dylan there, it speaks a lot to his heart. Yeah. He first wanted to ask my my roommate, who is Mackenzie Carpenter's fiance, or I guess husband, so my old roommate. Yeah. And he was going to ask him, and then decided on Jake. And so
so kind of a bench player, like it was a second option.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you just see Dylan was fishing in my pond, right?
That's what I'm hearing.
But Dylan's like one of my best friends
for sure, and
just like love him. And I think in this industry, it's a unique thing to find friendships that don't revolve around comparison and hold ounces of jealousy. If we're all honest with ourselves. And Dylan's just one of those dudes. We both just like care about each other, and like there's none of that comparison. Right. And he's such a good dude too, that like we're able just to like get on the phone after a long weekend and just be like, dude, that weekend sucked. Like, I played this show up in blah blah blah, and it was, nobody cared. Like, I couldn't. I played a show a few weeks ago. I was up in Virginia somewhere, and I was like, this is gonna be a good show. And I got there, it was awful, and they did not care about anything. And so finally I was just on stage, and I just go, we got any Morgan Wallen fans? They all yelled. I go, I go, well, that don't matter. I just want to hear y'all yell tonight. So, you know, I'm able to call Dylan and we're able to laugh about that stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the backside, it's just fun to like kind of create a beef and act like we hate each other. And,
oh, for sure. Yeah. For those that don't know, Dylan Marlo is an awesome artist. I really think that, you know, Connor and Dylan are both two of the next stars, and I'm glad that you guys like have locked arms and support each other.
We're planning like down the road just to do like a battle of the bands tour. Like we're gonna build this thing up.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. There's an Instagram account made called Connor and Dylan Beef, and they just kind of track anything that goes wrong between us. But he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He's got a good heart on him.
That's awesome, man. But we got just a few more things we got to talk about. Connor Smith in the studio. We're going to be right back here on 615 House Podcast. What's up, guys? We're back on the podcast. Connor Smith in the studio. And we have a fun game that we like to play. And it is called Rank These 5 Things Without Knowing What Comes Next. And the category for today is going to be Zin flavors.
Praise God. I love that. Dude, did you see that? I think you commented on it.
I did.
There's a picture of had a Zin holder, and so like when I got engaged, my buddy was like, "I got a gift for you." I was like, "What is this?" And it was like this dip holder, and so I put it on that night of the engagement. It was just like this like leather like dip pouch holder. I put my Zin in, and I was like fired up, like. Phenomenal gift. I don't think I've worn it since, but like still phenomenal gift. Like that's just something you need to have, right? Yeah. And so either way, I forgot. I didn't like recognize that was in the picture. Yeah. But I love that because I was like, people think I'm legit just out here with like a holster for my Zin. Like I take it that seriously, which you know sometimes you do.
Right. I mean, it's when you have a leather Zin holder, like you're on a different level.
Yeah, that's something to pray about.
I'm glad to hear it was for the flick and maybe not a regular thing. Yeah, with that being said, rank these 5 things without knowing what comes next. Category is Zin flavors. First is wintergreen.
3.
Okay. Cinnamon.
5.
You're not a cinnamon guy.
No, I mean I'll do them all, but it's 5.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Clearly a bottom shelf player. What about peppermint?
Oh crap! I've never had that.
You never had peppermint?
It would have been 4. I think I've had it. There's wintergreen. Is mint peppermint? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's 2. Sorry,
Well, there's peppermint and then there's also cool mint. 2 separate things.
Yeah, you're right.
So peppermint.
Is it the dark blue one?
No, that's cool mint.
Okay, then we're going 4 on peppermint.
Okay, got it. So we got wintergreen at 3, cinnamon at 5, peppermint at 4. Now we're jumping to the blue cool mint.
Yeah, we're going 2, and you better have citrus on this list.
And the number 1 spot, drum roll please, is citrus.
Yeah, dude, that is a lock solid. Like that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, city 3s or city 6s?
City 3s. I've been sanctified a little bit. I was kind of ripping the 2 6s, and I was like, I need to calm down.
What happened? You were on city 6s, went to church a few too many times, needed to bounce down to the 3s.
No, I woke up and I was like, I feel terrible. Like, you know, I probably had, you know, too much nicotine. But it is like, it's one of those things that like, after a show, dude.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah, talk to me about that last song, that walk off of the stage. Kenny's coming in with the Zin, like ready to go.
It's Cram, man. That it's my Zin guy. You know, Cram's my best friend from high school. He's he's out on the road with us, and I kind of bring him out to everything. Like he played the Opry with me, and he comes up on stage for this headlining show, and plays an acoustic set. But he's my Zin guy because he rips them. I mean, he rips them.
Well, I'm glad we clarified that you have a tour manager and then also a Zin manager. I think it's important that the two jobs don't overlap.
No, I mean, that'd be too much weight for Jake to carry. He's too young for that. Jake hasn't even graduated college yet. You know what I mean? So he doesn't.
He's still kind of in the apprentice role.
Yeah, he doesn't he can't hold that weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get off stage. Where's my Zin? Throw a little, city in there, and then play a game of chess. That's my thing. Yeah.
You're a chess player.
Freaking obsessed.
Have you seen? Did you get into it because of Queen's Gambit, or have you always been playing?
I haven't seen it. I was somewhere and someone taught me how to play. This was probably back in September, and from that moment on, it just became like my lifeline. So I play every day, like on my phone, chess.com. So if
I was
anybody,
gonna say you get your touches on chess.com.
Yeah,
You do drills, or you doing matches?
no, I'm straight 10-minute boys.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to play me, just like hit them in the comments. Like,
Could you mind? Is it possible? Can we put Connor's chess.com handle here real quick?
I mean, it's Connor Smith 13. Shout out episode 13.
There we go.
I try to tell you. But hit me up. Me and my roommate play every day. And we'll play on the road a good bit. So that's kind of my like get my mind off the show. There's such a dopamine rush of the show. Throw a little Nick in there.
Right.
Calm down. Play a game of chess. That's a healthy wind down. I love that. Well, I appreciate you for playing rank these things without knowing what comes next. We do have one other segment from our boys over at Ariat. They got some great apparel. We got this sweatshirt. Definitely has not been worn or used by me. It's up for grabs for you, Connor, but it's very simple. All right. Rapid fire questions. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to see how you do. Some people have gotten to this point of the podcast and persevered. Others have gotten to this point and they've gotten up and left the podcast. So this is rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Yep. Do you need a minute to mentally prepare yourself, or do you feel good?
We're in the pocket right now.
Okay. We're feeling good. All right. Rapid fire questions. 60 second. Matt, wind that puppy up and let's go. Dream collaboration.
Eric Church.
What was the last thing you bought on the internet?
A chess clock.
Should sleeping with socks be illegal?
No.
Wow. Okay. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee.
What's a hidden talent people don't know about you?
I'm really good at Madden.
Madden football?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. We're going to play. Funniest comedian out there right now?
Neighbor Ghazi.
Did Bush do 9/11?
No.
And what's the sexiest animal?
A jaguar.
Oh, jaguar. I was not
just
expecting
the name
that.
rolls off the tongue, baby.
Yeah. Do you think that fart jokes are still funny?
No.
Oh, interesting. And what's the worst genre of music?
Like the type of rap where like they're just not even saying words.
It's just like that's track 13 on Connor's new album right there.
Deluxe, baby.
Yeah. What's the weirdest food combination that you've enjoyed?
Oh gosh, enjoyed. Golly, I don't know. I'm just like, I love cucumbers on anything. So like, just put cucumbers on anything. Cucumbers are my favorite food, and like that's kind of weird. So I'll give you that.
Connor the cucumber man. That is weird. What's your go-to karaoke song?
My Girl, Temptations.
Okay.
Not Dylan Scott. 2 different songs.
Good to know. Yeah. Name a woman. Just any woman.
Anna Armas.
Awesome. Moving along. What's the dumbest sport?
Regular season basketball.
I agree. It's way too long. It should just be the playoffs. Dream venue to play.
Bridgestone.
Bridgestone. And last questions. Are condoms really necessary?
I'm getting married in 3 months.
And that's all the time that we have on rapid fire questions presented by Ariat. That was very good, Connor. We got the bonus in there too. I love that.
I love that.
Well, man, I do appreciate you for coming in. I want to talk. We got this album that's dropping, and then plans for the tour. What's spring and summer looking like for you?
Man, we yeah, I mean we're gonna be hustling. This album comes out. I think we go to like New York, LA, Europe, Canada. So it's just gonna be madness for a little bit. And then I made a joke with my roommate the other day because he's like my best friend in my life, and we finally got to live together this year. And I think I've slept consecutively at our house 3 nights in a row the whole time I've been there, just traveling so much.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be really busy.
Are you guys doing Sprinter vans or buses?
We're getting the bus in January, so we're
yeah.
I mean, that just will put a smile on your face.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing like
that
upgrading from the back of the Sprinter van to the bus, dude.
Like when you just close your eyes and think about that for a second, it makes you smile.
Yeah. So
we're doing that, and then wrapping up this Creek Will Rise tour. We got 3 more weekends. Headlining show Nashville Brooklyn Bowl on the night of the album release, or the day of the album release, and so that'll be awesome. Y'all get your tickets to that one, and it'll be crazy. And then this summer we're just kind of ripping it out there and doing all the fairs and festivals, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a really good year. It's going to be really busy, and yeah, man, I'm just fired up for people to hear this album. I haven't gotten to put out this much music ever, and definitely haven't felt like, you know, music has been coming out in a while. So it's gonna be really sweet.
That's awesome. Well, Connor's album comes out Friday the 26th. It is an awesome album called Smoky Mountains. He's going to be on tour. I can't wait to check out your live shows are phenomenal.
Thank you, man.
I know that you talk a lot about songwriting and how much songwriting means to you, but also how much performing means to you, because your live shows are bar none.
Thank you, man.
Regardless of whether the mic flip works or not. But
50-50. Nah, it's 90-10, but
you know, but
appreciate that.
But yeah, man. And dude, it's awesome. Just one of the things that, you know, I tell this to every guest I have on the podcast, but I love doing these because it's a chance to hang out with, you know, friends and people that I haven't seen in a while, people that I really support and care about. And I'm just so pumped for you in this year and all the success that's going to come your way, man. So
thank you, man.
So thanks again for being on.
We'll do it again, baby. Just let me know. You know, we finally got to make it happen.
For sure.
Made sense. So let's just do it again now.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you. Connor Smith once again. We'll see y'all next week.
See you guys.